I'm calling this meeting in order. Welcome to the Sedro Woolley Rotary Club, the best Rotary Club it has. We'll start the meeting with an invocation with Lynn Tuck.
All right, this will kind of matches this time of year real well for us. As we recognize our differences, let us mobilize our unique talents for the good of Rotary and our community. In our differences, we can think the same thoughts and move toward common goals, such as making a successful auction and a successful epic day of service. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic and one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now please join me in the four-way test before our guest right over here. Is it the truth? Is it fair? Concern? Will it better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all concerned? And today's song is with Jeff McGann.
So I know we see it all the time, but I just can't help myself. The last time Barrier just lost theory, Katy Perry hadn't even been an astronaut, so we're gonna stop. He got to the ball, and we got to the crowd. We missed the crowd with the chance.
Peace, everyone. All right, we have at least one thing for carrying job study. We have visiting Rotarians today over in the back. Becky L.
We're on this day, Stephanie Hoover. She's the assistant district governor of Terry and I, and she is here to enjoy her fun.
See any other visiting Rotarians? We besides our students of the month, do we have any guests of Rotarians today? I don't see any. So we're going to go straight into our students of the month because we have one of our students who has to get to a lab class. It's got to probably college by 1 o'clock, and we wanted to make sure she doesn't have to speak. So come on up, students.
That is my absolute favorite day of the month, getting the honor and ability to recognize our seniors who are paving the way. I just want to share, you have represented at these two tables that are right in the front here, parents who have committed and supported these young souls. So I like to take all the credit, but it really has nothing to do with me. It's these folks sitting right here and also these individuals who have made a true difference at our high school. And so thank you for the opportunity to share. We have 4 students up here because we're actually going to celebrate both April and May. And we're going to start with Hallie Christie. Hallie Christie is the daughter of Chase and Jamie Christie of Sedro Woolley. Hallie maintains a 2.81 GPA while being actively involved at Sedro Woolley High School. Hallie has been a varsity cheerleader for 4 years in both fall and winter sports and was also named cheer captain her senior year. Hallie has also played on the tennis team, led her to our Olympics for years. She was named Athlete of the Month in 2023. Hallie's been involved in Yoga Club, being named senior editor in her 11th grade, and has also been a cup crew mentor for us. She was also invited to be a junior marcher for the graduating class of 2024. Hallie is factored into the demonstrates the health and speaking being a part of community engagement activities through cheer, and dedicated 4 years to coaching youth cheer. Hallie's academic achievements include Department Awards in sign language, math, PE, and health and science, and also being a member of National Honor Society. Currently, Hallie is a Registrar student and will be graduating high school with her associate's degree in pre-nursing. Outside of school, Hallie is currently working at Village Concept in Redmond. She also does pet sitting and babysitting on the side. She enjoys spending time with her family, friends, her boyfriend, and her family. Her hobbies include snowboarding, traveling to meetings, and late days on the paddle. She loves to take her dog Harper to the dog park to get a pup cup. So at this time, I'd like to have Holly to share his with here today, and also her plans after graduation.
Thank you for having me. I'm here with my mom, Jamie, and dad, Chase. After graduation, I'm going to attend the University of Arizona, and after that, hopefully become a neonatal nurse practitioner or be a pediatric nurse practitioner.
The student that we're going to recognize. Micah is the son of Mary and Ken Estes of Sedro Woolley. Micah maintains a 4.0 GPA. He is one of our valedictorians for the graduating class of 2025. He's a varsity athlete in cross country, wrestling, and track. He was a triple threat athlete for 3 of those years, while being in very intense classes at the high school. Mike is an active member of Poetry Club and our STEAM Club. Some of Micah's academic achievements include being successful in the number of AP classes, being a member of our National Honor Society, having been selected as Rockwood Student of the Month, and earning 5 department awards last year. Michael will also be earning faculty awards in English, math, PE, and health, social studies, and world language. Outside of school, Micah loves running, watching the stars, and playing and hanging out with his friends. He also enjoys playing video games and has a special interest in engineering. Micah also enjoys spending time volunteering at the Humane Society and with our community. So this time, Micah comes to the mic and shares with me today, and also the starting.
I'm Micah, and I'm here with my parents, Mary and Ken, and my brother Sarah. After graduation, I plan on attending the University of Washington and also do their airport's ROTC program, like going as an officer in fire military.
I wanted to now move to our May Students of the Month, and we will start with Miss Lola. Miss Lola Wiley is the daughter of Crystal Ray and Nick Wiley, both from Sedro Woolley. Lola maintains a very strong GPA while being actively involved in her high school. She played varsity fast pitch all 4 years while earning the state title of our 2024 state championship team. In 2023, Lola earned the Team Offensive Player of the Year for fast pitch. That same year, the Northwest Conference awarded her the second team all-conference award in recognition of her offensive achievements that she had for the team. Lola also is involved in many classes, earning top honors while maintaining her strong grade point average. Outside of school, Lola enjoys spending time with family and friends. She also spends much of her time playing on the Benton Fast Pitch Travel softball team. Being on the travel team keeps Lola busy for most of the year, and it has also allowed her to travel and experience new places. Participating in travel softball has been a big part of her life since she was in fifth grade. And she says that it has helped shape who she is today. She has a passion for traveling and feels lucky to have visited places like Mexico, California, Las Vegas, and even some cruises. I don't know if you know this, but our fast pitch team is pretty darn good this year again. So if you get an opportunity, they're playing this Thursday against Mount Vernon. We'd love to have you cheer them on. And they also then entering the district playoffs. They're seated number 3 in the state. And I'll never forget a moment last year where there was a play that sent us into the state playoff game. And that was a home run by this very young lady getting right next to me. She nailed it. So we'll be
Thank you for having me. I'm with my mom for school and my dad.
I'm really excited to share this young man who's standing to the left of me. I've known his dad for 14 years, and I have the privilege to recognize Connor. Connor Hendry is the son of Brad and Amy Hendry of Mount Vernon. Connor maintains a 3.9 GPA while being actively involved in our high school. Through all 4 years, Connor has participated in band, lettering all 4 years, jazz band, basketball, lettering 2 years, and soccer, lettering all 4 years, while earning the title of team captain for 3 years. In basketball, Connor was given the award for the most inspirational in 2024, and voted the 6th man of the year in 2025. In soccer, he was named Defensive Player of the Year for 2023 and 24, and was given an All-League Honorable Mention in 2024. Connor was named Athlete of the Month in May 2023, May of 2024, and April of 2025. Connor's academic achievements include earning 7 Harvard in math, science, social studies, CTE, English, Spanish, and music. He is also being awarded faculty awards in English, math, music, PE and health, social studies, and world language. Outside of school, Connor enjoys playing soccer for Northwest United, which he has done for 7 years. 2 summers ago, he was recruited by another team to travel to Peru to play soccer, and this last summer he was invited to play in Spain. For work, Connor has been lucky enough to develop his passion for both soccer and basketball by operating throughout Sedro Woolley and Mount Vernon for both sports. I just want to share, I apologize, it's tonight, not the like brain, like, I apologize, I was gone this week. So softball is past pitches tonight against soccer, and we are in the playoff game for soccer at home tonight. So please come tonight.
Thank you guys for having me. Here with my parents, Bradley, Grady, Hendry. In high school, I plan to attend Syracuse University in New York to get my degree in sports analytics, which is business.
Started this year, we have these coins. They're not probably any monetary value, but they have our own.
Thank you.
Really helping to join the Rotary. And move on to, and this is a really busy month, so unfortunately, most of them probably won't be able to attend the sophomore soccer game tonight because we have Rotary auction. Yes, it's 5 to 7 p.m. So, if you have forgotten about that and thought, oh, I'll go to one of the sporting events, I see you. Let's see. Another reminder, please mark your calendar that our May 15th meeting is canceled. That's next Thursday. The reviewing the board, so here. May 17th is our Epic Day of Service from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Lynn has some thoughts.
So I really just have a couple things about that. I'm gonna pass the clipboard around for if we get a second shot at it. Sign up. And attached to the sign up sheet is kind of a brief description of what we're gonna be doing on the 17th. I'm gonna go do some pre-prep work. And Carl, did you get to make it over to do any prep work? Or were you gonna go out to the site and do prep work?
No, we never
Good.
quite arranged that,
Got it.
and I don't, I can't be there the day of the work. party.
Okay.
So,
We'll figure out something there.
yes.
But we'll have, we've got people signed up from two different clubs, so I've worked with Stephanie to get some other clubs, folks involved in that. So we'll be ready to roll that day. So this is coming around. If you want to take a look at the second page, then that would be, give you a little bit better idea of what we're working on. Would you like to be one with my other thing? So the other thing is we're moving back into monthly teams. When we work next year, I've got pretty much all of the books, captains picked. Daryl, did you ever get a chance to look at your calendar to see if you could do either August or April?
August.
What's that?
August.
August, perfect. And I need one more person for April. That's a really long ways away, so you can defer it until later. Anybody mind stepping up for April?
They need to do it. You have it in the booklet.
We need to have it in the booklet. We have to keep Ruth happy. So I got a lot of people already signed up. And I've already hit up a lot of people that are signed up for that time frame. So I'm gonna hit up everybody, one more time here, and then we'll, figure out how we're gonna work this out. So, that's all I need.
Thank you. Okay, and then we have Chris with the summer conference.
Just a quick update on the concert series, all the funding is coming in, we've got our lineup picked out, and then we have an announcement on the base, we got 4 really great bands. Thanks to the sponsors who reached out to me this year, for you guys to be paying for this, so. The other thing is too, is I'm trying to work some another hula baby party this year, so I'll keep everybody posted on where to do that.
For regular board meeting this month is May 20th. Everyone is all welcome to attend. We're going to start working on position plans from this year's board members to next. So then we'll have our joint meeting on June 17th with next year's members, and we can kind of do some handoffs there. And hopefully they'll be ready to take off and do all the good things that we do on July 1, and that is also a big reminder for installation. We'll be having installation on July 1. And then just a reminder, May 22nd, we'll be having our scholarship recipients and their families attend this meeting. Jeff, we need to get the number if you have students to Cheryl if you haven't already. And I'm still missing a few photos from our newest members. If you see Josh Allen, remind him that I need a pretty photo of him. And again, as I've said repeatedly over the last several years, some of you no longer look like yourselves in the book. And I know that there's some dignity there, but guys, you're not 48 anymore. Okay, you're like 68 in some cases. So it's saying that we're having some updated photos wouldn't be a bad idea, so our new members can recognize you. Yeah, and that's what I'm set up. Let's see. Are there any other announcements from the floor? Okay, and let's move on to raffle.
All right. Okay, first number is number 20. Spin the wheel or you can get to the side. Such a great number. Number 5, high school football number. Oh, we got number 5. That number never available. Table pays $2 each. Nice one. Okay, our third number is awesome. Our third number 56, 56. Hey. Okay, our numbers. Good chance to win. We got that. All right.
And that means we can move on. I mean, Carl, really good too now, starting in arms, because he just won a 6-time first flag. First flag. Is that how to say it?
I'm feeling the love, that's for sure, and I hope you are too. Today, we have some useless facts that are critical to know today only. All right, it is auction season. Let's see, I gotta find this younger table over here. What was the year that the auction started? You can't start doing that. And 1970. All right, so name one Rotarian that was instrumental in getting the auction. Dan Sanders. No. That was before his time. The first ballots would have been expensive. So $2. Stephen, can you help me pick up? And that's a box, because I mentioned your name and your question, what I do. All right, so this table here, where was the auction held in 1996? Silver Reef Casino, that's a good name. We've never had an auction at the Silver Reef. I'm gonna say no. No, it was not. It was still at the. They don't slide, you remember. What was the theme of our auction in 2002? Again, useless facts that are critical to know today. Garden party. All right, good job, guys. All right, so this table over here, what venue did we go to after the Elks Club? Very good. That was an easy one. Yeah, I remember that. That was painful.
Where was it, Carl?
We went to the Upper Skagit Casino because they told us they could host 330 people, and they really could only host about 275, but we had 330, so it was really pretty big. All right, so in 2004, what was the theme of our auction? Yeah, 2004. That's a great clue. All right. Okay, so you guys holding one bucket. Come sail away. And who was the president that came up with come sail away to this day? Okay. Who was the president that came up with the theme come sail away? Good guess, but no, it was Pete Ruski. What was Pete Ruski known for in Rotary Club while he was a member? What was the one thing that he did more than any other Rotarian? He won the raffle because he bought more tickets. He always bought several raffle tickets. Oh, that's a really good, yeah, what would you pay $1 for recognizing his wife for making all those delicious Christmas? Yeah. All right, you know, and it's not all about the auction, but it should be. Who is our new pope?
Leo. Leo 14th. It's Leo.
Well, if you would have said Leo, that would have been. You could have said, oh, Leo, you know, that's kind of funny. His name is Robert Francis Prevost, and he is a citizen of the US and Peru, dual citizen. So that'll be $1. And then how many series in a row have the Mariners won? Okay, you said the back there. Blue. An extra $1. What was your guess? 9 is correct. Did you cheat?
Did you want to do one for?
And then we got for our people at home. Who was the caterer to our auction in 2004? Again, the useless fact that is critical to know now. Is there anybody online talking to them? Can I be with those?
There's 4 people.
There's 4. Mexican. And how do we know if we currently?
Is it Joyce?
They didn't make a pay.
Nope, nobody's responding.
I'm not seeing any answers pop in. So let's go with Emerald Bay Events. They were our paper for several years. And a bonus question, who was the Rotarian that worked there? People online.
Nothing. Oh.
That's not his name. You tried. It was both talent. I think I have done for the day. Happy buttons. Anybody happy?
I have happy bucks whenever we see those red kids, so I got a happy.
All right, anyone else? Just because. Did somebody tell us about this thing out here on the trailer?
Well, I think on the trailer, but I'll tell you what, I thought I was gonna have to build a trailer for it. This was my career, talked with him yesterday, he said, you probably might have one, but be close enough, and guess what? Fit right on. Very happy.
Did you build that? The whole swing out there, and that's gonna be in the office. Generally fit off. Anyone else? All right, my parting shot for the day is generally fit off in the auction here. It's our one chance to make money for next year. Let's support Lynn Tucker this year by doing the best we can. Bid anything up, even if you don't want it, bid it up. That's my motto.
All right, there's just one more reminder before I have gone, I'm going to introduce the actual speakers today because he informed me after his response to my email asking for a summary was a thumbs up emoji. And then he gets here today, he's like, oh, by the way, I'm not the one actually talked. And that is kind of the theme for this year's program is people arrive and you think it's one person and it's actually another person. So just a reminder, tonight, 5 to 7, we're setting up. We appreciate all the help. It should be a pretty fast night. There's not a lot to do. We'll be setting up the jail. We'll be setting up any of the tables or the sidewalk items that we have there. We'll be setting up the caterers area. It should go fairly quickly. And then tomorrow's the big lift. And I just wanted to remind everyone, we want to meet down at Kyle's place off the board, across from the post office and in the back. We're going to be there between 7 and 7:30. The Janky box truck is going to be there at 7 a.m. So bring your trucks, bring your muscles, bring your bags. We got this. All right, Tom, on that board.
Probably my user error, I was supporting this thread, or maybe I just gave you the thumbs up. Anyway, Lou's been pestering me for a year or so to do a program on Pine Mountain Lakes. Thinking that I know something about fish, I'm actually an accountant, so I'm not be able to identify fish or fish. I will tell you about the budget of the National Park Service. But it'll be very interesting. But we do have a resident expert on fish in North Cascades. Actually, currently our chief of resources, very good program, big honor. He's also our lead negotiator. You may remember him. We had a conversation about the relicensing project that's going on. So I've actually been doing that, and but I'll tell you, this hard piece of recovering fish biologists, and will continue to be a recovering fish biologist.
How do I hit play?
So this one's with you.
Yeah, I'll just.
Yeah, so, kind of a great introduction, I was a fish biologist at Cascades for a long time. I've given this sort of presentation numerous times. I haven't given it in probably 2 or 3 years since Don promoted me. So it might be a little rusty. You can jump in and ask questions at any time, or we can do some question and answers at the end. But largely what I just wanted to talk to you folks about is sort of the Mountain Lakes Fisheries Management Program at the park. It's kind of a small niche thing that we do, but it's actually, I think, one of our more important programs that we run. So this is just now under North Cascades National Park. You guys are all very familiar with that, so we can go on the next slide. So a little bit of history on fish stocking and fish management in North Cascades National Park. In 1968, the park was established, and shortly after it was established, the Park Service was concerned about the impacts that stocking fishing on lakes have on those lakes, and so that sort of kicked off what we call the North Cascades fish stocking controversy. And as part of that, the Park Service undertook a 10-year research program that started in 1998, continued until almost the early 2000s. And the reason for doing that in large part was to sort of evaluate the range of effects that fish have in mountain lakes, and trying to look at a way that you might be able to manage these lakes to protect the resources within the lakes and also provide recreational fishing opportunities for the public who love to go over there and hike. I started working for the park in 1998, so I came in at the very tail end of that. And in 2006, we sort of started a mountain lakes restoration program. We had, shortly after that, our fish plan was approved by the regional director, and we started implementing it. And then we had a brief period of time there where there was no stocking allowed in the lakes, and this was sort of a small hiccup in some of the laws out there that we needed congressional authorization to actually stock the lakes in the park because they were in a lowlands area. But we got that legislation passed, and then we were off and running in 2014. This is just a picture I found on the internet today when I was looking around the Washington High Lakers. I threw this in here because I want to make a plug to 2 organizations in the state that we work with pretty closely. and they are just really fantastic organization. One is the Washington Lake High Lakers, and they're based down in the Seattle area. They go all over the states, monitoring lakes that are stocked for fish and provide information to federal land management agencies and WWW on sort of what are the conditions in these lakes and sort of help us manage the lakes for fishing. And the other organization are the Washington Trailblazers. And those are the folks that actually go out there and actually put the fish into the lakes. And they've been around forever. They're a really fantastic organization. Folks want to get involved in actually working to stock mountain lakes. The meetings are a lot of fun. Unfortunately, they're in Seattle, so they're a bit of a drive to go down there and do it. But I've been working with them for a long time. They're really fun to get involved with. Anyways, as a lot of you know, we've been talking about lakes for a really long time because, you know, it's a fun recreational opportunity. And pretty much every time I'm hiking in the park, I run into somebody with a fishing pole on their backpack. They're going to a mountain lake, they want to go there and fish. And so it's just a great American pastime that we're looking to support. So some of the problems with it, I don't know how many people here fish mountain lakes, but we have a lot of mountain lakes with fish in them like this. And this is a stunted rainbow trout. And it's pretty common actually in mountain lakes where we get these populations of fish that sort of naturally reproduce. And there's something about fish in mountain lakes where they can actually reproduce and get really high numbers of fish. So you can catch a fish absolutely every single cast. But every single fish you catch, it's almost a cookie cutter of that. And they're not really that recreationally rewarding, but they also have a pretty big impact on the lake itself and the surrounding ecosystem. This is one of the critters that they have a pretty big impact on. This is the long-toed salamander. And so when you get these high densities of fish, they eat absolutely everything in the lake, and everything. We find little pieces of blue tarpon in their stomach and things like that. And so they'll pretty much wipe these critters out in the lake. And so that's one of the things we're concerned about. And then they also eat all the insects, which is really pretty interesting. So all the mayflies, stoneflies, caddisflies, those things that are pretty standard for fly fishermen to use. They are really efficient at just removing all those insects from the lake as well. And this has an impact, not also on the lake and the insects, but it also has impacts on the bat populations up there and the bird populations. And that bird is actually, it's a great round rosy finch. It's really interesting. When you find one of their nests, they're typically filled with the wings of mayflies because they feed their young, the mayflies when they hatch off the lake. And so you'll find like thousands of the wings of the mayflies in the great round rosy finch's nest. The other thing too, that we're learning about this, and this is kind of just sort of an interesting fact, maybe for today only, I don't know, but that red line is sort of the Cascade Crest in the park. And the native trout on the west side of that dashed red line is the rainbow trout, which is on the top there. And the native trout on the east side of that dashed line is actually the Westfield cutthroat trout. And so we have over the years taken the Westfield cutthroat trout, put them on the west side, and put rainbow on the east side of the lake. And this actually has some impacts downstream. And so this is a study we did, which is actually kind of cool. You can take a water sample from the stream, you can analyze the DNA fragments in that water, and you can tell what fish live in the stream. And so we did this, it's called environmental DNA. We did an eDNA study of the species converter system in the east side of the park. And what we could find is, you know, all the Westfield cutthroat trout should be dominant over the watershed, so that should be all red dots. But what we found is that we have a lot of rainbow trout sort of that escaped from mountain lakes, established populations in these streams, and we're currently prioritizing cutthroat trout. And so that's something we're trying to get that genetics sorted out to protect the cutthroat trout in the eastern part of the park.
Do you want a laser pointer at all?
Oh.
My cats, but you know, it works.
All right. And then, so this is something else too. This is brown trout. We have been seeing an incidence of illegally stocking of brown trout in the park, which is actually a concern for us. These fish right now don't reproduce, they don't reproduce the mountain lakes, very well. But they do get really large and they actually have impact on the amphibians that in the lakes themselves. But what we're really concerned about is that these brown trout will escape the mountain lakes and go downstream. And they grow really fast. You can tell they got a really big mouth. And so if they were got into like the Skagit River system, they would have a really big impact on the salmon population in the rivers. And so we're really concerned about the illegal stocking of these fish, and we're trying to control those populations as a prime part. And this over here is the eastern brook trout, another species of concern because it hybridizes with neighbor, the native bull trout, and so that has an impact on those populations too. So brown trout originally came from Germany, and eastern brook trout came from the eastern part of the United States, so east of the Mississippi, so they're not native to this area. So back to like the really fun part of my job is what we have here is like sort of our goal in our mountain lakes fishery management program, which are big healthy fish in these mountain lakes. It's rewarding for the anglers to catch those fish. And one of the things we found out through all the research is that if we can keep fish at really low densities, they get really big, and then they don't have all those negative impacts that we see in the lakes where we produce population. So we've been pretty lucky. We found a sweet spot that meets recreational needs and goals, but it also protects the lake services. In large part, what we're really attempting to do in managing the mountain lakes in the park. So this is just a quick summary of the current status of our mountain lakes in the park. We have about 245 lakes in the park. Historically, we've had about 91 that have been stocked over the years. If the fish aren't naturally reproducing, they do die out. And so we've seen, 25 of those populations that have likely died out. We've had 4 lakes with illegally stocked fish, and we've actually been out there eliminating these high density populations of fish, and we've moved 16 of those populations today. We've stocked an additional 5 lakes in the park since the law passed. But really, at the end of the day, we have 30 lakes that contain fish, and we have 22 of those with really high density populations of fish in the lake. This is one of the techniques we use to remove those fish. This chemical you see there in the yellow barrels is called rotenone. It's a highly toxic chemical to fish. It's actually, go to the next slide. Well, maybe the next slide. Okay, this is rotenone. It's highly toxic to trout. We're pretty lucky that you can kill trout in parts per million. So that's like a tablespoon of rotenone to a swimming pool size water will kill the trout. It's a naturally occurring compound, so it breaks down just into fatty acids over a period of days, and it doesn't leave any residual. It comes from a bean plant they find in South America, and so this is the chemical that we use. Use a liquid formulation so that there's no danger of it handling it or getting it airborne. These are just some fundamental questions that we always have in the back of our head because we are dumping poison in the lake. We want to make sure that we're not going to do harm. We also want to make sure that we're actually out there benefiting the folks who are we're doing. So we have a pretty robust research program that we do in conjunction with this, where we're looking at a whole bunch of different water quality parameters and looking at the organisms that live in these lakes to see if we're really harmed by putting these chemicals in the lake. The other thing we do, this is a bioassay. And so one of the things that we've been really successful with is we use the bare minimum amount of chemical. And so we're always looking at just using as few gallons of this rotenone as we can in the lake to kill the fish. And so part of what we do there is it's called a bioassay. And so each of these totes has 5 fish in it. And what Carlin is doing there, she used to be one of our technicians, is she's putting different doses of the rotenone in these totes to try to figure out what's the smallest amount of chemical we can use to kill these fish. So we really dial back on the amount of chemical we're putting in the environment. And then we do a lot of planning to figure out, this is a bathymetric map of the lake that we just treated a couple of years ago. And we do a lot of this mapping to figure out, one, where are the fish living, but also two, where do we want to put the road nodes. So we can really target, much like when you're farming, if we can really target where we put the chemical, we can use a lot less of it. So we do a lot of mapping and planning on these projects as well. I just stuck that into the Rainbow Lake restoration. It's the lake we did a couple of years ago, in 2022. It's over in Heating. I got a couple of pictures of the lake. So it's a beautiful lake. It had rainbow trout in it. And what we're going to do is kill the rainbow trout and then restock it with either rainbow trout that won't reproduce, or we'll restock it with cutthroat trout. Go back. This is a picture of kind of the equipment we're using on the lakes. You can see these are these jugs which hold the road node. We put fish in traps out there, so we put them at different depths of the lake to make sure that we're actually killing the fish at different depths. And so these are like our canaries in the coal line that we put up there. This is a road node drip station in the outlet stream to Rainbow Lake. And so this apparatus right here slowly drips the rail into the stream and kills the fish in the stream. You can see here's our canary in the coal line over here next to that drip station to make sure it's tough. And then to make sure that we're not killing fish outside of our treatment area, we install a neutralization station. And so this is a neutralization station which has potassium permanganate in it. It's basically used in water purification systems, and it neutralizes the erosion. It breaks down the molecules before they leave the treatment area out of the stream. So we'll install that in maintain during our treatments. So is it successful? These are some results from the work that we've done. This red arrow right here is sort of when we put the chemical in these two lakes, Sourdough and Chapman Lakes. You can see before we treated Sourdough Lake, we didn't find any amphibians. And then shortly after, the first year after we did the treatment, we started seeing western toads in the lakes, and then the long-toed salamanders, which are the pink bars. Chapman Lake was another lake we treated with road node. We found one frog in the lake during the treatment. But after the treatment, we just saw this huge response in amphibians, whereas in 2010, when we did our first survey, we didn't find any. And then this is a picture looking at a couple different lakes, and we have some really long-term data on. And you can see prior to the treatments, we're not seeing very many amphibians in both of those lakes, but over time, we really see them recolonizing the lakes and doing pretty well in the lakes after we do the treatment. Yeah, and that's sort of is the end of sort of the overview of our program. And so I just kind of open it up if there's any questions that anybody might have or comments actually. Yeah.
So do you guys do anything across the that national forest versus that?
We're all focused in the national park. And so high lakers and trailblazers are also working with the forest service on stocking and managing these lakes. But the work we're doing here is only
Because some of them have the same drainages, and if they're putting in the wrong fish, and they're gonna end up getting over there, right?
Yeah, and so currently the high lakers and the trailblazers are they're all this, and so they're not stocking. So this is kind of technical in the details, but there are two kinds of fish that you can stock in lake. Basically, one of the fish species that's native to the watershed, so like rainbow trout and scattered watershed. The other thing you can do is trout genetics are really, I don't know how to describe it, they're really spongy, they're really plastic. And so you can take a bunch of trout eggs, fertilize them, and then pressure treat them, and you will change their genetics from a diploid fish to a triploid fish. So you basically multiply their genetics by 3, and those fish don't reproduce. And so you can stop those lakes and those fish in the lake, and then they won't reproduce. And so the trailblazers are getting fish from WDFW that are basically either native to the watershed or they're sterile fish, basically. And just so you know, the EFW, also has some really good information on anomalous fishing and like where these fish are being stopped, so people can find, you know, if you're thinking of hiking to the lake, you go to the EFW page and find, you know, what.
I love it when I just-
on the lake and things like that.
So the rainbows don't, when they reproduce, they look like that skinny fish, or is that because there's too many fish and not enough food, or what causes that? Why can't we get rainbow to reproduce naturally? Look,
Yeah, so they look normal when they hatch out of their eggs, when they emerge from the reds. What happens in these lakes where they naturally reproduce are you get big fish that lay the eggs, and so they eat all the big critters, all the amphibians and the larger like dragonflies. And then they have their first generation of young, and they're kind of medium size. And so they eat everything that's medium sized in the lake, and so they'll eat all like the mayflies and the caddisflies. And then you'll have the third generation of fish, which are really small. And then they eat all the midges and worms in the lake. And so that happens for the first couple of generations. And then as the fish grow, they don't have any food to eat, they don't have any body fat. But the water is really cold. So if the water was warmer, those fish that are basically starved would die. But because the water is so cold up there, they don't have, they just continue living, so they're kind of almost like a zombie fish. And so you'll see them like they're just ghosting around in the water, just barely swimming and waiting for something to fall in that they can eat. And so it's really like being on an extreme diet, but these fish can live like that for multiple years. You gotta keep in mind that the mountain lakes are ice covered pretty much 9 months out of the year. And so they're pretty much almost freezing 9 months out of the year. And then the ice melts off, and then three months in a row, water's still really cold, and so you get this really crazy situation set up. So it's not genetic, it's food.
yeah,
Yeah, good question.
So on the illegal stocking, do you know who's doing that? Is it still going on, or is this just remnant from previous illegal stocking?
It's something that's continuing. We did a treatment in the Bum Lakes up in Baker Lake, the eastern brook trout up there. We got released from brook trout, we came out a couple of years later and there were brown trout in those lakes, and so we went back out to remove the brown trout. Haven't seen brown trout up there again. Just last year, the Trailblazers, because we were going to stop that brown trout picture, it's from the Quill Lakes. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's kind of up by Mount Shrine. And Trailblazers were going to stock those lakes last year. They went up there with the fish and they found the brown trout in the lake. And so they didn't stock those lakes because the brown trout was keep fish and put them there anyway. And so those fish were probably stocked 3 or 4 years ago. And so it's kind of an ongoing investigation we're looking into. And, you know, I will say that's why it's one of the reasons early on that we also wanted to do the non-licensed fish management plan, because we realized that we didn't allow some stocking that people would kind of do it on their own. So we're hoping to avoid this situation by like, you know, letting these folks. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a copy of the draft EIS, and then I got a copy of the final. And I was surprised at how much work it was. It was about 6 or 7 inches thick. Well, my question is, I won't get into my comments about the alternatives at the end of the EIS. But earlier in your program, you were talking about how you're enhancing some of the lakes and the fish are getting bigger. Do you have a list of those lakes that you can go?
Maybe you might have to here. So one thing, it's been a few years, but you know McAllister Pass and McAllister Lake right before McAllister Pass. So that was a lake that has a hybrid fish in it. It's a cutthroat rainbow hybrid. And the lake also has, cascade frog and spotted frog in it, so and those are, endangered frog species, so we didn't want to kill the frogs, so we were going to poison the lake, because that would kill all the frogs too. And so we went up there and we gill netted for a number of years. And it's pretty classic, like the first year we gill net, we probably take 500, 600 fish out of the lake. And then the next year we come back, we only get about 100 fish, but the 100 fish that we get are all big, like they grow really fast. And so McAllister Lake, I don't know how much it's rebounded from when we were up there, but that would be a good bet. If you want good lakes to fish in, I can give you some.
Is there any Montana black spots still in the lakes?
There's still Montana black spot in, you know, the Verdeen Lakes up in Baker Drainage. There are Montana black spots up in the Verdeen Lakes, and then Bixter Lake also has a Montana black spot.
How about granite?
Those are on the forest, and you know, the last I had heard, I went there in my 20s because I heard there were raining up there. And so I went up there to fish for granite and didn't catch anything, so I don't know what the status is.
So are those lakes in or out?
They're in. And the trailblazers stopped middle Thornton. Actually, that would probably be really good fishing.
It's good.
They stopped that in 2017, and I think it's gonna be up for stocking again in a couple of years. And so that's again, stock at really low density. And that's another success story. For sure.
All right, hey, Ashley, thank you so much for. For your efforts. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we'll see you again in a year or two.
All right.
Checked it real quick.
So.
You're right in the
again,
camera. Hold on.
They say repetition is the key to success, and I think it was Bill Brockman or perhaps Kelly Cargile who told me it takes 7 times of repeating the information before someone retains it. So again, this is 5 to 7 p.m. tonight. This is our initial setup. 7 a.m. to 7:30 in the morning is when we're meeting at Kyle Rutherford off of Woodward Street. So there's that again. Bring your truck, bring them up, bring it back. And then we'll go over to St. Joseph. We'll start setting up and do the finale. Don't forget, we're planning on meeting for lunch. And I'd really like to thank Stephanie Cooper for attending today. It's always a pleasure to have you. Okay, Mike, you're gonna stand up. Welcome to the table chairs, please.